Find that clip. It is on page, it is Exhibit Bundle 4, the transcript of the meeting of the 5th of March, starts at page 22, and it's on the paginated page 143, type page 119, and this is when the Provincial Commissioner addresses the committee. His address starts at page 139. The reference to Brown Mkhwanazi is at page 143.
But I think I picked up something that Provincial Commissioner Mkhwanazi said about some fellow. 2 weeks ago, it does happen in a week or 2 or 3. I think a week and a half ago, I got somebody insisting that there's somebody who's going around saying he works with me wherever I am, he is there. And I said, show me the face. And it got to a point where he showed me the face, and I told him, I don't know this person. And a week before, there was another person, Mkhwanazi, who said he's my younger brother. My younger brother died in 2005, and I don't have any other. And so, when the person says, you really, so I think we must be very circumspect when people come to us and say, I must be an associate of this and that. I'm not associate to the person that General Mkhwanazi referred to. But I appreciate whatever they discussed, and then those things come out so that I understand who is saying what, where, and so on.
And Minister, is that the clip you wanted played? And it sounds like it corresponds with your response to the Portfolio Committee, which is at page 160 of the paginated papers, at 136 of the type pages, from about line 7 or 8, where you said, but I think I picked up something that Provincial Commissioner Mkhwanazi is saying about some fellow 2 weeks ago, and it does happen in a week, 2 or 3. I think a week and a half ago, I got somebody insisting that there's somebody going around saying he works with me wherever I am. He is there. I said, show me the face. And it got to a point he showed me the face, and I told him, I don't know this person. And just earlier, we've already referred to Mkhwanazi, who got a phone call that's at page 143 from line 13-14. He said, this is Mkhwanazi, on 29 October, to be precise, I received a phone call, Chair, a phone call and a message that came from a gentleman who said to me he is a close associate of the Minister of the Police, and that is Mr. Brown. He referred to himself as Brown Mkhwanazi. This Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi, who had described himself as a close associate to the Minister, indicated to me, which made me believe that it is a close associate of the Minister, because he said to me he was joining the Minister of Police to visit the Lusikisiki massacre, and that happened last year, and because I did not trust him, I called the Chief of Staff to try and establish who is this gentleman. And the Chief of Staff did confirm to me that indeed he is a very person close to the Minister of Police. But what surprised me about this gentleman is that he then indicated to me on a message that he sent me when he said there is an internal attempt to discredit me through the defeating the ends of justice case. Anyway, the rest is not particularly relevant. Okay. So you also wanted to deal. There's the ethics committee. You also wanted to deal with your responses, which is that you gave to the ethics committee. You recall that there was a complaint that was lodged by Honourable Member Schikkeling, which to the committee, and if you could just turn to Annexure SM2 at page 540, it's the Annexure in Volume 2 to your witness statement. Do you have it in front of you there? At page 541, this is from your affidavit in paragraph 8. You reference the exact time of the recording. And then you also refer to your response, which I've where you just to in the last sentence, I think we must be very circumspect when people come to us and say, I'm an associate of this and that. I'm no associate to the person that General Mkhwanazi referred to. Then you say at paragraph 12, I deem it prudent to mention that following the Provincial Commissioner's address, the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee did not pose any questions or comment, and neither did he afford the honourable members an opportunity to do so. Had there been a direct question from any member asking me whether I know Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi, I would have answered in the affirmative. And then at paragraph 13, subsequent to the Portfolio Committee sitting, I was made aware of an audio recording between myself and someone I had spoken to. I do confirm that the telephone conversation is true, but unbeknown to me, it was being recorded. In that recording, the person had asked me a direct question, which was not asked in the Portfolio Committee meeting, on whether I know Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi, to which I responded that he was just a comrade from Northwest and not my close associate. Further stating in isiZulu, and the translation loosely is, I do not smoke tobacco with him, emphasizing that he was not a close associate of mine. And then he said the recording is available on TikTok. I think there was an attempt to make it available, but he couldn't get the audio. And then at paragraph 15 on page 554, you thereafter issued a statement on the 9th of July titled Statement in Response to Allegations Regarding the Minister's Alleged Association with Mr. Matlala and Mr. Mkhwanazi. In that statement, I mentioned that I do know and have met Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi, but further mentioned that he is just a comrade and not an associate of mine. And then at paragraph 17, you refer to the Oxford Dictionary and the difference between an associate and a comrade. You said, associate and comrade, as per the Oxford Dictionary, the word associate, which is a noun, means a partner or companion in business or at work, whilst the word comrade, which is also a noun, refers to a colleague or a fellow member of an organization. It is in this context that I denied Mr. Brown Mkhwanazi being an associate of mine. Close or otherwise, I rather stated that he is a comrade, as we are members of the same political party and have engaged on party and service delivery matters on a number of occasions. Do you want to elaborate any further, Minister?
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you very much, Evidence Leader and honorable members. As you heard, in the Portfolio Committee of the 5th of March, after all other reports, I was asked by the Chair whether I wished to make comments, and I made 4 comments. The first comment that I made says, I was approached by somebody who says there's somebody who goes around as per the clip, saying they work with me and they travel with me. And I asked to see the photo. In fact, we had a small conversation, after which I said, I wish I could see the fellow. And he called, and then he showed me the photo. Now, I don't mention where this happened, and I don't mention who the person on the photo was, partly because with time constraints, and I wasn't necessarily, that was not the focus of the Portfolio Committee. So I was just relating a story, my story. So now that I'm here, I need to make it clear. The person that was on the photo was not Brown Mkhwanazi, even though I didn't say it that way in the Portfolio Committee, but it wasn't. That's why on looking at the photo, I say, I don't know this person, which is not Mkhwanazi, which is not Mkhwanazi. It's another person that I didn't know. So I say to the fellow showing me on his cell phone, I don't know this person, because I thought they might have cloned a face of one of my staff members for one reason or the other. So I passed. That's my first comment. There is no way that that reference was a lie, because it was my story. I was sharing it with the Portfolio Committee, leading to somewhere. What is the second comment that I make? Second comment is that I tell another story, which is the second story, of somebody phoning me while I was at work somewhere about somebody who is talking to people in Witbank, saying he's my younger brother. Then I say to that person, I don't have a younger brother in that context, because he perished in 2005. So deal with the fellow who is using my name, to that person that was talking to me. There's a second comment that I made. And there's no way it can be a lie, because I was talking about what had happened to me. And the third comment is then I make a caution to the Portfolio Committee to say we should be circumspect. That's the word, that's the term I used. We should be circumspect when your name is dropped here and there. It doesn't mean that it is like that. Having related those 2 personal stories or personal experiences. Then I make the fourth comment, now directly relating to what General Mkhwanazi had said about Mkhwanazi being my associate. So I say the person that General Mkhwanazi is referring to is not my associate, it's just a comrade. This is now Mkhwanazi directly. Now, so that is what I did. Now, what do I mean by, what was my personal understanding about an associate, even today? I know a number of honorable members here others for many, many, many years. But they may not necessarily be my associates, at least the way I understand associate. They are people that I know. Like Honorable Albert Mngwangu, I knew him long ago, when we were vehemently opposed to each other in KZN. But I have never regarded him as my associate. It's just somebody I know.
Thank you.
Now, that is what I was explaining there. And there's no way I could have lied there, because the two comments are my personal story. The third comment is a precaution, to be circumspect, and the last comment is then to deny. Now, what complicated things in my view is that when General Mkhwanazi made his statement on the 6th of July, he then tells the public something twisted. He says, Minister Mchunu said he doesn't know Brown Mkhotsi in Parliament, which I never said. I never said. But he tells the public something twisted, saying, I said in Parliament, I don't know Mkhotsi. When I actually said I don't know the person who was on the phone, not Mkhotsi, and that was not Mkhotsi. He told that to fit his narrative, if he was not making a genuine error on his part, one of the two, he can explain what he was doing, whether it was an error or he said something to the public that was calculated to suit his narrative. I never said in the portfolio committee, I don't know Mkhotsi. I said he is not my associate. Somewhere, I think it was in here in the portfolio committee, or no, in the ad hoc committee, or in the Madanga Commission, he said it doesn't differentiate between knowing. He even spoke about a friend, the difference between a friend, knowing, comrade. He said something like it's similar to him. That is to him, not to me. I differentiate. That's why I use the dictionary to say, in fact, from where I sit, once you say associate, I would think of some partnership, some work relations.
I think, Minister, I think I, as evidence leader, I accept that you know him and that he is not an associate of yours, as you explain, and that he's a comrade. I think I understand the difference between the two.
Okay.
An associate is a bit closer in a business sense or some other sense where there's some kind of relationship. So that is...
I do want to conclude, though, and say, when I heard that there are members of this Honorable House who have taken me to the Ethics Committee and Code of Conduct, after which I was given a deadline to submit an affidavit, I did so, freely so. But, well, up to now, I haven't been called and so on. But I did make an effort to clarify this matter. And it is the first time I clarify this matter as I do in an organized fashion since Mkhwanazi made that statement.
So you're satisfied that your response has now been...
the issue of the lady, that lady pretended to be worried about what was happening between me and General Mkhwanazi after the IP'd kind of conduct to him, speaking like she wanted to sort of bring about an understanding so that we could, from where she sits, reconcile, which I was fine with. I said, okay, I will brief you. So I briefed her, relaxed, and so on for quite some time, 30, 40 minutes. And I didn't know that she was recording me. Now, I only learned the following day that she was actually recording me. And then when I followed up, I realized that she was on a platform that is associated or is said to be administered by somebody who is a member of MKP, that is Umkhonto Wesizwe Party. So I thought this lady must have been a sniper of sorts, thinking that I would sort of say something that she would have needed. And I just, unknowing to me that she was recording, just stuck to what we were discussing until the end. But underlying the fact that in the conversation between her and myself about Brown Mkhwanazi, I do say Ang Pemina, not requested by her, out of volition, explaining myself. I said, Ang Pemina, and this is Zulu, when you say Ang Pemina, you mean you are not close. It's known by everybody that in this is when you say I am Pemina.
So, Mr. Minister,
you are not an associate. That's what I need to explain.
Honourable Minister, can we just move a bit forward? We have a limited time, and but I just want to be satisfied that you said about Mkhwanazi. So for how long have you known Mkhwanazi?
Since 2017.
2017. And you know him as a comrade who's in the same political party? Only.
In the period, I've never asked him whether he's married or not. I've never gone to his home. I've never gone to look at soccer or restaurant. I've never inquired about his personal life, whether he's employed or not employed. Because we just occasionally talk about this and that. Thank you.
So, can I just put something to you, which comes from one of the other witnesses who will testify? It is, I suppose, legally speaking, double hearsay, but this is your platform. This is an opportunity for you to respond to it, and the witness who will be called will also be questioned about it. But this witness says that he was told that you had met, that you, Mkhwanazi, and Vusi Matlala had met, and that Matlala was also sponsoring your son. Apparently you have, what's it called? Trust or something. Okay. So, excuse me, Mr. No. But apparently the evidence will be that you had met with Mkhwanazi and Matlala. Have you ever met with them together in one room on one occasion?
Never. I've never met Matlala alone. I've never met him in the company of Mkhwanazi, and possibly in any other capacity. He's not somebody that I know. He's not somebody that I've spoken to, directly or indirectly. He's not somebody that I've had anything to do with Matlala. So I don't know him.
Oh, yeah. So, Minister, if I may just turn to, can I take you to Exhibit Bundle 3, EB 7. That is an extract of the WhatsApps that we sourced from the Matlanga Commission. These are extracts from their WhatsApp bundle. And on page 78, at the bottom, there appears to be, these are WhatsApp from Mkhwanazi. The bottom there, it seems to be a WhatsApp addressed to you. And then on page 78, this appears to be addressed to you. Minister, I'm going to get the case number and this judgment for you. Now we got something proven by the court. This is the matter now which either Sabia or the minister can charge Khumalo and apply Rule 9 of the disciplinary hearing, it took the Constitutional Court to release a man who was sentenced to life imprisonment through a forced Section 204 confession. Imagine, Comrade Senzo, after 30 years of democracy, having this kind of policing. The good thing is now that there is not, these are not allegations, but a court judgment. These are apparently signal messages. Then on the following page, 80, there's a WhatsApp, Sunday the 26th. Morning, Minister. I'm in Durban and can confirm that they got nothing on Phoenix Saga, and our contact says they couldn't even go to any bank. By the way, the girl is here also. Tomorrow we are signing the practice notes on the Northwest PEC matter for the SCA in PTA with Senior Counsel. The matter will be a month from tomorrow. Then it's something about a briefing. Any other? Okay. Yeah. So Minister, those appear to be addressed to you and your comment, please.
Yes. Number one, I think these two messages they were sent to me coming from Mkhwanazi, if I have some recollection of them. Now, I wouldn't have responded to both, and I think I never responded to both, simply because I didn't quite understand what he was referring to in the first one, talking about judgment and all of those. And it wasn't, or it wouldn't have been for the first time that Mkhwanazi would send to you something that you wouldn't understand. Unless you sat down and so he sent that, and I looked at that, and I didn't have quite a good understanding of what he was talking about. But I didn't inquire, I didn't follow up. I took it as one of the messages that he would send to you, and you would know what they are referring to. On the second one, although you have made them disappear, first message, I do remember, well, that those messages that he sent to me, I think I do have a recollection of me receiving them. But I didn't know what he was referring to in those messages either. If you could play them again, just to see message 1, 2, 3. I had no collection of what he was talking about, and I don't think I went back to him to inquire, what is it? What is this thing that you are talking about? It's the same as the message that was referred to by General Mkhwanazi of Mkhwanazi, talking about me arriving in Lusikisiki, because I had not informed Mkhwanazi, and I don't think there's any staff member who had informed him. And when General Mkhwanazi made mention of this, I thought that somewhere Brown Mkhwanazi must have been sitting at home, looking at TV, seeing me alighting from the car, because it was played live. And he types a message to General Mkhwanazi to say, Minister is arriving, and General Mkhwanazi thinks that he is in Lusikisiki. I don't remember whatsoever Mkhwanazi seeing him in Lusikisiki, and I wouldn't have known what he was there for. Okay. But TV, I mean, can be played, and we can research that to see if there was any face of it was a very serious matter, and they would have been seen somewhere by somebody that Ufunan Mkhwanazi and so on. So he must have been typing this thing sitting at home somewhere, Minister is arriving, which was seen by everybody in the public. And a notice had been given the previous day that I would be in Lusikisiki, and it went to public. And so he must have been doing, because I've sort of
concluded afterwards that he's quite a bit crafty in somehow in
Sorry,
what he's
Minister,
doing.
sorry to interrupt you. I need to just move a bit. So you confirmed that you did get this message from
If I
Mkhwanazi.
recall very well,
Yeah.
to the
Okay.
best of my ability,
Do you have Mkhwanazi's number on your phone?
Yes, I do.
So when he messaged you, you would...
Yes, I would
You-
see
you
that
would- you would
it's
see.
Mkhwanazi. This message comes from
Yeah.
Mkhwanazi, and
Now-
I think
now-
I do remember these ones. But I didn't
this
know
is,
what-
This is, I'm not so clued up about this, but this is apparently on Signal.
Pardon?
This is on Signal.
And WhatsApp, he would send those
Yeah.
messages.
So, what is, and for your comment, but the one message that you see at the bottom of page 78 of EB7 is a message that is sent on the 31st of December at, is that 11:18 or 18:48?
That's 11:18. That's,
Yeah, it seems to be at 11:18 that you received a message. And of course, that's the same day on which you issued the directive on the 31st of December 2024. Is that a coincidence? Is there anything that one can read into that? That you were in Signal or WhatsApp contact with Mkhwanazi on the 31st of December 2024 when you issued the directive?
Where is that message on the 31st?
There isn't a message, it's just a, it just shows, well, as I can't go any further than what appears from the WhatsApp.
Where is it?
So maybe my question is this, and you can, if you can also confirm it, that on the 31st of December 2024,
I don't
you received
remember. I don't remember sending any message to Mkhwanazi on the 31st, but unless I see it, I don't remember at all. And I think I was quite busy for the longest time on the 31st, writing the directives. I don't think I did, but let me see the message.
All right. So, perhaps then can we move on to Matlala?
Yes, we can, on a note that I don't think I sent a message to Mkhwanazi on the 31st. I don't remember at all. I don't remember at all.
It is a...
But we can pass.
It's from him to you.
It's from him.
So it's not
from-
alleged that
to-
you
to
sent
me
him a message.
on the 31st.
Yes.
What was he saying?
I'm not sure whether it's not apparent, Minister, from the whether this is the message that appears on the following page on 79, which I've already read to you about the Constitutional Court judgment that was issued on the 20th of December. I'm not sure whether that's the same message.
Yeah, neither do I remember or have any recollection of him sending me a message on the 31st.
Okay.
I did see some message said to have come from him to me at Madlanga Commission, but I don't want to get closer to that because I just saw it on TV. But I don't remember such a message from him to me on the 31st, nor do I remember what subject we would have been speaking about. Until I get that, I can then have a better comment.
Which page is this in?
SM 44 and volume 2.
if I can just move on, Minister, to Matlala and his affidavit, which is at SM 44. It's in volume 2. It's an affidavit that is deposed to by Vusimusi Matlala. It's date stamped the 22nd of September of this year, 2025, and it was commissioned by an officer at CMEX on the 22nd of September 2025. So, can I start by asking, how did you obtain this affidavit from a person who is being kept at CMEX? And I think colloquially we all associate CMEX with high security and persons who are detained there because of its high risk, high security. Would I be correct more or less in that understanding? That CMEX is not just your ordinary prison like a Pollsmoor or Drakenstein, it's high security. So how did you obtain this affidavit from him?
I got this affidavit from my lawyers. And they said they had a chat with Matlala's lawyers at their level, in their own time, their own way. And then they gave me documents that they said they received from Matlala's lawyers. How any other thing happened, I don't have the knowledge, but I do know that my lawyers did give me the statement a couple of days or so ago to say they have this kind of a document.
So was the sole purpose of obtaining this affidavit, or procuring an affidavit from Mr. Matlala, that he denies knowing you?
On several occasions since I started preparing, I have been emphasizing to my lawyers that I don't know Matlala. I repeated that and I said to them, my lawyers, I'm not fooling you. I'm not playing any game with you. I am honestly saying to you, I have never met Matlala. I have never seen him in my naked eye. I have never had a talk directly or indirectly with him. And I've been repeating it over and over, and at the same time saying, I know Mkhwanazi on the other hand, and how I got to know Mkhwanazi, and how he's not my associate. And I think they then took the initiative that they took to inquire on their own, and they got this affidavit. And this affidavit, when I read it, it reflects what my understanding is, that I have never met a person. The only time I got to talk more about Matlala, other than coming across the name from newspapers and social platforms, it was on the 20th of December when we started talking to General Masimula about the contract. Then that's when I started talking more about Matlala. Before that, I just come across the name Matlala and the stories about Tembisa and all of that. But I had never heard anything else to talk about Matlala.
Minister, what prompted you, just because you raised the issue of the Tshwane health contract, what prompted you to make further inquiries about the award of that contract? Because that was done and in fact signed off by the National Commissioner. I think before you became the Minister of Police, the contract, as we know, subsequently it was cancelled after he was already paid, I think a substantial 50 million or 25 million or something like that. So the question is, so what prompted you to make those inquiries which then resulted in the contract being cancelled?
On the
okay, before you respond, Minister, let me recognize Honorable Malema.
Thanks, Chair. Good morning, Minister and colleagues. The SC is raising a very important point and is leaving it, where the Minister says, I never solicited an affidavit from Matlala. My lawyers are the ones, after listening to me so many times, they went to solicit the affidavit from Matlala. and I wanted the SC to ask as to, are you saying your lawyers acted without an instruction? Because lawyers act on instructions of their clients. And Minister should understand the implications of what he is saying about his lawyers, because they can be reported to LPC, that on their own volition, go to a maximum prison, obtain an affidavit. Is that without his instructions and they are his lawyers? Is that the understanding that the Minister wants to share with us?
Senior Counsel, that is sustained.
Should I refer to Honorable Malema as my junior counsel? I intended to ask about that. I'm mindful also of my 2-hour limitation, and I suppose Honorable Malema can perhaps defer that question to Honorable Minister when his turn comes. But you've heard the point,
yes,
and
yes.
Maybe if you want to respond to Honorable Malema.
My response is, Honorable Malema is quite correct. I did express a wish that if all possible, if it were to be possible, I could wish to get an understanding, even via such a document. They say I get something of a lifestyle from, without naming what is it that I've ever received from Matlala, or what word has ever gone between me and Matlala, but they say he funds my lifestyle. And the strangest thing, Chair, is that I have nothing that I can, they just on their own connect me, and it has never happened. So the express response is that I did express a wish that if I could, I mean, if anything could be possible. So I was wishing, and they carried out that wish.
So it was on your instructions that your lawyers approached Matlala in CMEX to depose to this affidavit.
Yes.
But Minister, if you don't know Matlala at all, you've never met him, that's your evidence?
That's my evidence.
Yes, so why would you want to obtain an affidavit from a person who has all these allegations against him and that's imprisoned at a high security prison? Why would our Minister of Police want to be associated with a person like that?
The question or the answer to that question could be another question. Why would the Minister not wish to get the word from such a person who people out there are trying so hard to associate with me when I'm not associated with him? Why would the public not be interested in getting to know what he has to say if it were all to be possible? I even want to say that I so wish that the Madlanga Commission or even the ad hoc committee could call him to come here to attest or to give a testimony on his own whether he really knows me. So the question is, the response to that is another question. Why would I spare any effort at all, seeing that everybody is interested in making me in connecting me, in trying to connect me with Matlala, when I am in fact, not at all connected to him. So I wouldn't spare any moment, and I expressed a wish. But I was on the 20th evidence leader on the 20th of December, answering your question when we took the diversion. In the interest of time, if I may proceed.
Okay. Can I just also, for the record, Honourable Chair, Honourable Members, and Minister Mkhwanazi, that when I earlier referenced that the National Commissioner had by then signed the Thwani contract, it was in fact just signed by someone in supply chain, but the contract itself was signed in June of 2024. Now, I had already put this to you, but again, just for the record, I'd indicated that a witness will be called to say that Matlala had a business relationship with you to support your campaign to become the ANC president or deputy president, and had also made some contribution to your, I think for your son.
Yes, to respond to that, I have no knowledge of such. Now, when I saw something like dinner, I saw something like a list of people who are said to have come to Cape Town for dinner, invited supposedly by myself. It almost shocked me, because I had never had any discussion with anyone, Brown Mkhwanazi to be exact, about any dinner anywhere, about any contribution anywhere, and so on. So I saw all these things for the first time as we do this. As a matter of fact, I have a diary that is included here. Okay. To start with, I saw the list when I inquired. What list of guests are these? Because in January 8 dinner, it doesn't happen the way I'm hearing is said to have happened. You don't have your own dinner within dinner. You just go there as invited and you get allocated a table. You don't
just to assist Minister also perhaps to speed up. I'm sure that honourable members will also ask you questions on this, but you deal also with the January 8 celebrations on page 82 to 88 of your statement. It starts at the bottom. Did Matlala pay for my associates or guests in the January 8 celebrations? You may want to reference that or look at it.
Yes. I'm saying I've never asked, or I didn't ask anyone to organize any dinner whatsoever for me during that period. And to be specific, I never asked Brown Mkhwanazi to organize any dinner for me for whatever reason. I didn't. Nor did I compile any list and gave it to anyone to be brought to Cape Town. I never asked anyone to organize accommodation or whatever for me. And as a matter of fact, to start with, my diary was pointing me elsewhere. As a matter of fact, I didn't attend January 8 dinner and rally in Cape Town. I wasn't in Cape Town at all. I left Cape Town on the 8th, and January 8 was going to be on the 11th. Because of, no, first it was just the ordinary program, this one, I think at George, I went there for that particular function. But then, this is on the 8th, and then on the 9th, which was Thursday, I departed Cape Town for Durban because there was going to be a memorial service of Professor Pengu, who had passed on. And I'm a relative of him, and I knew him very well. And I was invited to speak at his memorial service at Ishawa. So I flew early in the morning, 6:05, to go to Durban and then proceed to Esho. That's where I was on the 9th. And then on the 10th, it was his funeral. So I went to his funeral, which was at Peguzul Hall at the University of Zululand, still in KZN. That is on the 10th. And after that funeral service, I then flew from Richards Bay to Gqeberha. That is Nelson Mandela Bay. An ugly incident had taken place there of a young police officer who got brutally murdered. And I went to his funeral because of the emotions that were there, and to be with the family and with his loved ones. And that's how I spent those days. Now, I didn't know any dinner. I didn't organize any dinner. I didn't send any list. And when I saw the list of people called, said to be my invitees, I know of no one here. There's no one that I know that I would have invited to such a dinner. It's impossible. It's impossible to just find yourself a list of people flying and saying they are coming to your dinner. So I deny with evidence that I had anything to do with that dinner sponsored or said to be sponsored by Matlala, nor did I ask him directly or indirectly via any person to organize any dinner for me. If somebody went on to do this, it was not on my behalf, not in my name. I never associated or got involved in such. It was all a surprise to me when all these things unraveled afterwards. Thank
you, Minister. Okay, can we just move on to Mr. Cedric Nkabinde? He was your Chief of Staff. Before his appointment as Chief of Staff, did you know him?
Who is that?
Nkabinde, Cedric Nkabinde.
Yes, I know Nkabinde.
Since when did you first meet him, or for how long do you know him?
The first time I met Nkabinde, it was because I had written a letter, this letter. I don't know whether the legal team did include it for your reference. It was written, this letter was written in 2017, 29 May 2017. It was written by me to IPIT.
Yeah, sorry, just Honorable Chair, Honorable Members, it is an exhibit to bundle 6. Unfortunately, the bundle, well, the pages are not paginated, but it's about the 4th page.
Yes.
where
It says
this is this is addressed. This is dated 29 May 2017.
Yes.
It's addressed to IPID, Independent Police Investigating Directorate, and it's about complaint against police regarding investigation on the murder of Xolani Nkosi, and it was written by you.
Yes, it's written by me.
Yeah.
Yes. If I could elaborate. How I got to know Nkabinde, it was as a result of this letter. And I want to emphasize that I heard General Mkhwanazi talking about the visit to my home by Robert McBride, who was head of IP, together with Nkabinde. Indeed, that incident did take place, but not the way he was relating it to the public. Because he spoke about them flying a long way to Durban and then driving a long way to Mpangeni as if it was leisure and as if it was some
So is this in 2017?
In 2017.
When McBride and Nkabinde, who's also with IPID, when
they were with IPID. And yes.
Yeah, they come to your house, to your home.
Yes, at Mpangeni.
And
after receiving this letter.
Yeah, and was that after you were no longer the premier of KZN?
No, I was no longer.
Okay. So they visit you in 2017 at your home?
Yes.
Is it in connection with this, with your complaint?
Yes.
That you lodged with IPID?
Yes.
Because there was some allegation or some insinuation that
yes.
you were somehow involved with the death of Xolani?
Yes.
And Xolani was your one of your bodyguards.
He was my staff, not really my close bodyguard, but he was part of the security team that he would advance where I go and check, and then he got murdered at some point, and I wasn't there around Mpangeni. I was working in Ladysmith when I heard it was in the evening that he had been murdered. It was around 8.
So that was the first time you met Nkabinde?
That was the first time I met Nkabinde. And then I explained my matter, the basis of this letter, to McBride, Robert McBride. Yeah. And after we discussed the basis of this letter and everything I was complaining about, Robert McBride allocated Nkabinde to deal with the case. He said, take his details, take whatever, remain in contact, he will give you feedback on your matter. And that is what exactly happened. I maintained contact with Nkabinde. He gave me feedback in terms of what was happening. Now, the real thing that was happening is not what was insinuated in what General Mkhwanazi was saying. This was a grave matter where I believed I was unjustifiably being pursued by the Hawks, following this incident, because the Director of Prosecutions in KZN had actually advanced 7 reasons why there wouldn't be any prosecution, where I got to be associated very strangely.
Who was the KZN DPP at the time that cleared you?
I can't recall the name and surname, but following this incident, to give you some clarity, this incident at Mpangeni, I followed up the matter as to where police were on the matter, and then I heard that it is now with some units in a eThekwini police unit that were investigating it, and I was satisfied with that. And then after that, I then followed up again. Then I heard that there was a rumor in KZN that I was a suspect myself in the matter of Xolani. Xolani comes from...
So did you lodge or file your complaint with IPID before you heard that you were now also a suspect, or was it afterwards?
No, it was after.
Afterwards.
Yes. I heard that I was a suspect. And this got the family very worried and myself very worried. And I had the services of a private investigator myself to say, no, now that there's a story going around which I don't know anything about, let me safeguard myself and get a private investigator. And that matter then it then took its natural course. In other words, police were investigating, and on the other hand, the private investigator got involved.
Was a private investigator that you appointed?
Yes, I had appointed.
Did this private investigator work with or assist the police?
Yes, to ensure that the matter is investigated objectively, because there were now rumors, very, very ugly and strange rumors of putting me there and so on. Now, finally what happened is that, those matters were clarified, and the people who had been involved in the matter of Xolani got arrested, and I believe that they are still in jail as we talk, because the matter was thereafter properly investigated and so on. Now, the other matter of me being associated with him and then pursued, I smelled a rat and said, why would Hawks go out of the actual investigation? Because I do even remember that I spoke to Provincial Commissioner, he was acting, Jula, where I said, Jula, I now hear that I am a suspect. Look, if I am a suspect, this is my address, my home address, this is my office in Durban, this is my office in Pietermaritzburg, as a premier. If you conclude your investigation and somehow you need me for anything, including arrest, this is where you will find me, otherwise I'll be on the road working. This is my number. And I think a week thereafter he said, no, he wrote to me and said, you are not a suspect. There is a process going on investigation, which led finally to the arrest of people who had pulled the trigger, and those who had taken his cell phone, being identified and all that, and the matter was closed. So it was very strange that Hawks then started pursuing the matter on the other hand in a very strange way. It was for that reason that I then wrote the letter to say, no, what is this now? And then McBride brought in Kabinde, and then they started investigating. And to cut matters short,
did Kabinde engage with the Hawks?
They engaged the Hawks, the head of Hawks in KwaZulu-Natal at that time, to say, what is this? What is the basis? And they found out that he said, according to Kabinde, when they inquired with him, he said he was not satisfied with the reasons that were advanced by DPP, and the procedure was that they would have appealed to the national head of prosecutions instead of pursuing a matter that was now closed by DPP at provincial level. And that was out of procedure, what was happening.
So once I'm sorry to speed it up a bit, Honourable Minister. So once the suspects were apprehended, they were prosecuted,
yes,
and imprisoned. What happened, or what was your relationship with Nkabinde? He's now working for IPID.
Yes.
That issue has now been resolved. So just fast forward a bit. What did you continue to have a relationship? Did it strengthen with Nkabinde? Did it become personal? Just tell us a bit about that.
It was now very loose and very relaxed, not pursuing anything, because I was now satisfied. I need to have mentioned that what I said to Jula was that you can pursue me if you feel I'm a suspect, but don't lose sight of somebody whose hands are with Xolani's blood, and there's evidence to that effect. You rather do both.
Yeah.
And I put that very strongly. And that led to that person being prosecuted and so on.
But
So
Minister,
with Kabinde, it was now very loose. It would be just a call here and there, not for anything. I just appreciated the way they had done the job.
Now we heard this actually from Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, that Nkabinde then left the iPad. I'm not sure whether it was a termination, a resignation, or a dismissal, but he left iPad.
Yes.
I think he had a fallout allegedly with McBride.
Yes.
And he left iPad. He was unemployed for a while, and then Mkhwanazi found him a job with a security firm. I don't know if you're able to comment on that or how much you know about it. If you don't have to comment on it. But yeah, so during this period that I'm referring to, do you still have a relationship with Nkabinde? Do you still know him? Do you still interact with him?
Now, when I called Cedric in terms of the vacancy as Chief of Staff, to say he may submit a application if he so wishes for the panel that would interview them. I did check some detail on the profile, and actually after I spoke to him, it is not exactly as General Mkhwanazi puts it. Cedric spoke to me that all the reasons why he had to leave IPIT and circumstances thereof. After that, he got employed by the bank in their forensics department and so on. And he told me that General Mkhwanazi actually knows that Cedric got employed in the bank because he would invite General Mkhwanazi to functions of the bank because they were close, and he would attend. So he knows beyond any doubt that he got employed. So he found it strange that he is said to have been unemployed.
Yeah, they I'm not sure what the position he is currently, but they were friends. They were close.
They were.
That's
Yes.
how we hear about these phone calls between Mkhwanazi and Nkabinde. So
Well, I'm not
let's
sure.
just fast forward, but this position of Chief of Staff,
Yes.
what was it? Is it an advertised position?
No.
What are the qualifications you need to have to be a Chief of Staff of a minister in government?
Now, there is something called ministerial handbook. What happens is that when you recruit staff, you've got to look at the ministerial book and what it says about each position, and then you contact people that you think are possible candidates, and they get to a panel set up by the department that you are working for, and they get interviewed. I know this in detail because I was once Minister of Public Service and Administration, and I made sure that I introduce improvements that are in place today in terms of recruitment, so that you don't recruit anyone just because you love them or because they are associated with you or they are your relatives. We prescribed certain qualifications, because if you're Chief of Staff, you are actually a Chief Director. So it can't be that you get there because you are related to the current minister. You must possess, because you get a salary paid for by the public, you must be seen to be meeting certain criteria.
So he had to meet the criteria qualifications for a chief director
together with
in the
other
public
people.
in the public service.
Definitely.
And that position is advertised.
No, that position is not advertised. It just gets proceeded with internally.
Because I'm asking because you mentioned something about a panel. Maybe I got it wrong.
Yes,
I heard wrong.
Yes, it gets processed by the department itself internally. That there's you are supposed to have such a number of staff members, and we are ready with the panel. You can give us names and so on, including internally. People get to know inside the department that.
So how does the panel get these names? Is it an internal?
It's an internal arrangement that you give them names of people, but other people get to know that there's a post internally within that department, and they apply. But it is a risk thing in the sense that when anyone who works with you, who agrees to work with you, has their term attached to your term. So being minister, you get appointed, but at some point you get appointed, you know that you will get disappointed at some point. And when they come, they know that they will be disappointed together with you. Yes. So you can't easily leave a permanent post only to be disappointed the following week or so.
No, I just want to understand, how did Nkabindi's name get into the mix? If this was an internal process, how did his name get?
It's an internal process.
Did you put forward his name?
You put forward the names as a minister, but you also allow, if there are people internally that can apply, that would wish to apply, and they do so. And so they therefore submit their profiles, why they think they are suitable, and so on. And then they get interviewed. That's the bottom line. They get interviewed.
They get interviewed, and do they then make a recommendation to you, or do they? They do. You make the appointment.
They do give me results of the application on various aspects of what these people know, what they have in terms of skills and all of those things, even qualifications academically and so on. And then you say, look, I would rather take so and so, and looking at compliance and all of those matters.
And those records, would one be able to access them? Would they be available?
They get kept by the department.
Okay.
They get kept by the department.
So from the list of names, how many names did you get?
Well, it is in accordance with the establishment for your support as minister, as prescribed by the ministerial handbook. They allocated a specific number.
So
it's a limited number.
On what basis, or for what reason, did you prefer Nkabinde as chief of staff? Is it because of your relationship with him, which started in 2017 when he was working for IPID?
That is one factor, but the other factor is compliance. His educational qualifications, his experience, which is related to police. I had a chief of staff, but when I came to police, I realized that, look, I would benefit from somebody who has background. This is a large department, it's a police department. I would benefit if I were to get somebody who has some understanding of how police work, and so on. And I found that he met those criteria. But as a minister, when you do so, you also need somebody who you think you can trust, and so on, somebody you have some background with. And yes, that was one factor that I considered.
Now, I understand that he was only a non-commissioned, lower-level police officer. He had no senior police experience?
The post of Chief of Staff didn't require that I look for somebody who must have been a brigadier or must have been a general or something like that, because there was no such prescription. Prescription is there, that a person must have a certain level of qualifications, and he met those qualifications with a degree in policing and all of that. And so the level is not necessarily prescribed. Actually, you can even get somebody who has no background of policing, but I needed somebody. I thought I needed somebody who had some background of policing, because I was all of a sudden appointed there, and therefore I needed that kind of leverage.
And I suppose the other maybe unwritten criteria or qualification, or rather criteria, is you need to appoint someone that you can trust.
You definitely need somebody,
especially Chief of Staff.
Yes, that you have a certain level of trust with. But at the same time, you can trust a person, but only to find that they have no related experience, nor do they have qualifications. And therefore, it's quite a number of factors that you have to consider when doing so.
I also ask because there is a WhatsApp which I'll find, or ask to find, where I think it's Mkhwanazi or Matala, they say that they're looking for your number, and then it says that they should ask Nkabinde for your number. Are you aware of it? Do you want to comment on it? Or would this be the usual protocol? If I want your number, Honourable Minister, do I have to go through your Chief of Staff to get your number?
Now, I'm not sure I'm aware of that, but in case it happened, it wouldn't have been something that would have happened for the first time. They phone PAs, they even phone other people that I work with looking for the number. It depends on who the person who wants my contact gets to know or to get to contact. It's not just the Chief of Staff only, but they also do talk to other people that I work with. In some cases, they even talk to my wife wanting my numbers.
But that's at a very personal level, isn't it?
Well,
not when it comes
not necessarily.
work or business relationships.
You lose quite a chunk of your private life. They would phone her on something related to my work, wanting an appointment or something like that. Even my children, in some cases, they phone them and they say, give me your number, only to find that it's something related to work. A person requires an appointment with me for some reason or the other. It happens.
But Minister, of course, it's in this context, because
yes,
I'm sure you'd be concerned about it. I mean, it's in the context of, you've heard various allegations about Mkhwanazi and Matlala. It's in that context that there's reference to him and that he'll provide your number. Is that appropriate? Is that a satisfactory state of affairs?
Now, I don't know what Senior Counsel is talking about, because I haven't come across it where the two would have wanted my number from Chief of Staff. But if it did happen, I'm just wondering what they would have wanted that number for and when and all of that. But as I indicated earlier, I indicated that I started interacting with the name Matlala, not him, after the 20th of November. So if they were looking for my number after the 20th via the Chief of Staff, it could have been something to do with that issue. But even there, I would still, wonder what it was all about.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Then I'm moving on from Nkabinde now.
Yes.
You wanted to reference some, what you call discrepancies in Mkhwanazi's account, and it's in your statement at page 33.
Yes. I wanted to touch on those briefly, on those discrepancies. Which bundle? On page?
No, it's not 33. It's page, it's 24, sorry. Page 24 to 33. 24, there's a subheading, discrepancies in Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's accounts. And yeah, it goes to page 33.
Yes, I'm trying.
You want to address that?
I'm trying to get some assistance to get to those. Oh, yes. Yes. Well, I wouldn't want to take a lot of time, seeing that we don't have as much time. I'll just make a few references where I came across very, very, very concerning discrepancies. I've already pointed at one discrepancy in relation to what I said in Parliament on the 5th of March, and related to what he said on the 6th of March, and that there's a yawning discrepancy, very disturbing discrepancy between the two. But the ones that I want to talk about here is one is where General Mkhwanazi is continuously referring to, in his affidavits, to the National Political Killings Task Team as a KwaZulu-Natal political killings task team. The actual official name of the team is National Political Killings Task Team, and it's important that we stick with that particular reference, because if you juggle, you get to mislead the public, maybe intentionally, maybe unintentionally. Number two, on the 6th, at the media briefing that he did, asserted that the National Political Killings Task Team had been disbanded as a result of my directive of the 31st of December 2024 letter. And in the same breath claimed that today, that day, the 6th, they are bringing all dockers to Sibia as a result of the disbandment. He linked things that are not linked. The disbandment, the directive that I gave to dockets. In my directive, there's no reference whatsoever to dockets. There's no reference whatsoever to Sibia. So when you read the directive and you make a public appearance shortly thereafter, or sometime thereafter, and you say as a result of that directive, I am now taking dockets, you make the public believe that following your directive, you are now taking the dockets to a Sibia, and you link the two in a troubling kind of manipulation. Or manipulated kind of
I think it's pretty clear to me, Minister,
yes.
that
the next one,
that the dockets were requested by Sibia, yes, and not by you.
But in the Madlanga Commission, General Mkhwanazi then changed completely, and he then spoke about acknowledging the continuing operations of a National Political Killings Task Team, notwithstanding my disbandment. He did say expressly that work is continued to operate even in 2025. That's what he was saying. So quite worrying discrepancy as a result. The next one, before Madlanga Commission, General Mkhwanazi suggested that Parliament had failed to act after his 5th March appearance before the SAPS Portfolio Committee, including that Parliament had been confronted with the same WhatsApp and proof of payment evidence that he had publicly alleged. And I know that subsequent to that, the Honorable Chair did confirm that there was no such at the Portfolio Committee. And I did attend. There was no such a presentation. There are a number of those. I don't want to exhaust all of them. But also somewhere in point 66, during the ad hoc committee hearings on 9 October, the honorable members, yes, that's what I'm saying, the chair of the portfolio committee did deny all these things being presented, including any commentary from SAPS, because in that meeting, SAPS never raised any concern whatsoever about the disbandment. They just presented compliance and so on. But the other discrepancies, Mr. Matlala, or any 360 million tender was not presented there and so on. So there are quite a number of discrepancies. I'm just making references to them in the interest of time that come about in his statements depending on the platform. And that is very, very worrying.
Well, you've set it out in your statement.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister, Honourable Chair. That concludes this part of our questioning. As usual, at the back end, you know, you're a cricket man at the back end. If I can get the opportunity of asking a few more questions, depending obviously how it goes with the honourable members' questioning of the Minister. Thank you very much, Minister.
Yeah, Minister and SC, thank you so much. It has been a protracted session, starting from Thursday last week. I think you deserve a 20 minutes break. We will come back at 11. Thank you.
I would want to use part of my 20 minutes because Senior Counsel asked me a question that while I was just starting, I had just started on the contract. Then we got diverted to something else. It is very important to explain that in a way.
Yeah, you can explain that in 3 minutes.
I would do so.
Yeah, we must break at 20 minutes before.
Yes, 11. I will take 1 minute to add another contrast.
Yeah.
On the 6th of July, General Mkhwanazi made an allegation to the public that I was guilty for interfering on police operations and on protecting syndicates and all of those. But when he was confronted by one member of the ad hoc committee in the portfolio committee, he publicly said, I quote, I wouldn't say corrupt per se, but on the 6th, he told the public that I'm corrupt, public. That's why I was saying the other time, I'm like wearing his allegations and smelling his allegations. Then he tells the public that no, I wouldn't say corrupt per se, and so on. A police officer can't talk like that. A police officer must say, this person is corrupt, here is my evidence. He can't become a politician per se, although chair members, because of what has happened, you are now looking at the trust. You would have looked for the trust and for any other thing and put it on the table and then go to the TV rather than going to TV first. And then you come back, you say, I'm looking for this. Otherwise, all of us would be guilty on a daily basis if police officers in South Africa just go to TV and say, you are corrupt, but I'm looking for evidence. I'm looking for this and that and so on. That's the first thing. Very, very worrying contrast if we could have high-ranking officers working like that in the Republic. But let me go for this. On the 20th, Chair, it's important to highlight that it is Minister of Police, Senzo Mchunu, who at this moment is on suspension, who initiated the cancellation of the tender, 360 million. And I read that News 24 article early in the morning, just after 6. And when we were flying to KZN together with the National Commissioner, I gave him my cell phone. I said, have you looked at this thing, this article? And he looked at it and he said, yes, I know about this. I did make an inquiry with supply chain about this, and they said, no, the tender had been done properly. That's what National Commissioner said. And he added by saying, if you want a briefing, I can organize a briefing for you. And I said, National Commissioner, I would want a briefing because if the portfolio committee asked me about this, I wouldn't be able to answer, even though it was awarded before I came. And that's how we landed at the process that was now reviewing this, which ended up with all of us agreeing that the tender was so flawed that it actually shouldn't have been awarded in the first place, and it led to its cancellation. So I want this ad hoc committee to know, and everybody to know that I initiated the cancellation. So I was very worried when National Commissioner made a joinder at Madlanga Commission saying he wonders whether I knew that the tender belonged to Matlala. The article I showed him on the cell phone was clearly written Matlala. He saw it. So I didn't know why he is now wondering that I possibly may not have seen. Now, supposedly twisting the sentiment to the public in a worrying, manipulative manner, that I showed him that article blindfolded, and had I known that it was the tender belonged to Matlala, was awarded to Matlala, I wouldn't have done what it did. I want to make it public that I got both shocked and disturbed by that. I have very good relations with National Commissioner. He would have known me by then, and it shouldn't have surprised him. And even now, if I see the thing, I would still have said, cancel this tender. And that's why I engaged on the process and saw it to the end. I saw that the tender had been awarded to Matlala. I deliberately initiated this and followed up even in January, leading up to the cancellation. And I confirm that I stand by that initiative. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, honorable members. May we break until 11 o'clock.